allay. Oh dear God, I thought you said swordplay, not foreplay, my dear.
If there's one thing I love, it is a group challenge, and guess what? That was presented to me in the form of Michael from Nat1 Videos reaching out and suggesting I submit an entry in his Discord challenge for making a sword and shield combo. So really the rules were simple. All it had to be was a sword and a shield that would fit in on a castle wall, and it had to literally fit in the palm of your hand when it was done. I got that. So because I make STL files on Blender, he thought I could add something different to the mix of, say, foam, wood, that sort of thing. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you guys a quick process of how I modeled a sword, and then we're gonna print it out, and then I'm gonna make a little diorama for it to sit on using magnets. All right, let's get into this. So when you first open Blender, usually the first thing you see is a cube. So we're gonna take that cube and we're gonna manipulate it into a long rectangle that sort of resembles a blade. And then we're gonna subdivide it. Anytime you see me adding lines to the rectangle, that's me subdividing it. So that's giving me more access points to manipulate the shape of the blade. And please don't take this as a Blender tutorial because this is not in depth at all. This video would be way too long for me to explain everything. So I'm just gonna give you an idea of my process. You'll see a picture flashing up every once in a while, and that's definitely part of my process, and that is taking a reference image and working off of that. So a lot of my projects, I'll either draw them out or I'll find something that I'm trying to emulate from just like a quick Google search. I use that to base my files off of. So the sword that you see I'm working on, I don't actually use it in my final product, but I do in fact use the ones that I already created to the right. I'm using this as an example of my process. So now that the blade is formed, I'm now moving on to the guard, the grip, and the pummel, which are words which I never knew existed until I watched the Crazy Crafter live stream, so thanks guys. But anyways, as you can see, it starts out again as a square that gets stretched and skewed and manipulated into ultimately a sword. Now the grip and pummel here actually are made out of a decagon, so that's actually considered a cylinder here in Blender. Not gonna lie, this part definitely looked a little phallic to me, so for that I apologize. And if you don't have a dirty mind like me, I apologize for bringing it to your attention. So when we're done with the handle, we're gonna add a little decorative piece, which I guess would be like a ruby or something like that. And when we're done with that, we're gonna add some subdivisions again, but we're gonna add a lot, and that's gonna make it have a curved appearance. Going to make some final adjustments, and then we're done. And now it's ready for the printer. So while that's printing, we are going to sketch up what the diorama is going to look like. And no, this is not a very detailed piece. This is just a quick sketch so that I can figure out what I'm gonna do with this. So I came up with the idea of having a fireplace with a magnet in it so that you can swap out the shields. And also I decided you can't have a fireplace without a fire in it. Of course, I'm gonna put an LED in it. So that's the idea. Now that we know what we're making, I'm gonna make a stencil out of cardboard. That way we can just trace it onto the foam core and we're good to go. As you can see here, I'm using the shield that I printed as reference for how big I want this fireplace to actually be. And now we're using our template on the foam core, and we're just gonna cut it out real quick with an X-Acto blade. And for the back piece, we're gonna use what we cut out and trace that onto another piece of foam core, and you got the back. Now using a sharpened pencil, we're gonna add the stone detail to the fireplace. I start with the arch, and then I start drawing in the stones. Before I move any further, I make sure to mark where I'm gonna put the magnet. So I use a shield as a guideline. And this fireplace has a mantle, so I'm just cutting a thin strip of foam core and adding some detail with a wire brush for some wood grain. To add some dimensionality to the fireplace, I cut some 1/4-inch strips and I applied them with hot glue to the edges. And now that they're glued together, I'm cleaning up the edges and at the same time carving in some stone detail, so rounding some edges here and there. Now we're ready to add the mantle with some hot glue, and after we do that, we're going to create a little base for the fireplace to sit on. And now you're ready to Mod Podge, and when you finish Mod Podging, you can add the magnet using hot glue. And make sure it's flush using the tip of the hot glue gun. And after a quick paint job and adding a fire with some hot glue and an LED, we're done. Are you ready for the reveal? I sure am. Here's our little display piece. Shield number 1. And then my favorite, here is shield number 2. Boop. So I just want to take a moment and say thank you to Michael at Nat1 Videos for inspiring me and getting me to create something that I normally wouldn't, because really I wouldn't find myself making this. So challenge accepted, done. And now I find myself addicted to it and I'm making weapons and all other fun stuff. So thank you, Michael. And for you, the viewer, if you have a 3D printer and you want to download these files, I'm including them for free. The link for that will be in the description. So thank you. If you like this video, let me know how I'm doing. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh, now Sugar Plum, it's not that bad. Darling, now please put that down.